Oh, alrighty folks, good morning. It is, I don't know what day it is. We are about to leave London. So it is 5:30 AM. We need to get up and around the M25 to get the hell out of here. And we're heading back towards Holyhead, which is a 6-hour drive from here, depending on the traffic obviously. So at the moment with no traffic it's 6 hours 10 minutes. So we will go 2 quick client visits this morning and going up the road depending on time with about 20 calls and about 4 video calls which you mightn't even get taken because the signal is not great in places, which I know I've said a couple of times. But anyway, I need to get on the road, so let's go. So yes, down in court yesterday, and then a public inquiry the day before, and then yesterday we had client site meetings, client meetings and a business event as well, in with James Sinclair. So we're fit to meet 2 of our clients there, which worked out extremely well. Anyway, let's get this shit on. Another thing that pisses me off with these places is that they charge you a big price and then charge for the bloody car park on top of that. Alright mate, how are you? Alrighty guys, so just pulled into one of the services here off the M1 as we're heading for the M6. Get a bit of diesel. Don't know what the prices here are. UK fuel cards or DCI cards actually don't work in a lot of places. That's more south in the UK, believe it or not. Although DCI is owned by UK fuel cards, and you have to have a row inside. But anyway, we'll just pay this on one of our other business cards. However, we won't get the reduced rate. But how much is reduced really by DCI? Not very much. So yeah, we're going to fill with fuel here now, and I didn't get any footage up the road there. We just ran into a snow storm. So yeah, the snow was bad there for a good 15-20 mile, and of course I was on the phone and everybody was slowing down, everybody was braking, and I had a couple of calls to sort out. So the last thing was getting a bit of footage, obviously for road safety. So yeah, we're going to get a drop of fuel here and then probably call over to the services which is beside us and grab a cup of tea or something. We have approximately 4 hours 45 minutes drive left before we get up to Holyhead, call into Holyhead Transport Hub. We have a couple of new things coming on board in 2026 which we thought we weren't going to do at all, but plans have changed. So yeah, it is. Anyway, I'm standing out here in the freezing cold. Let's get fuel for the van and fuel for me. Stand by. Alrighty guys, so we have just came off the M6 onto the M56, heading for the 55 back to Holyhead. And the sun is splitting the stones. Absolutely beautiful day, but it would cut you into outside. It's sitting here at the moment, what are we on, 3 degrees, and it is 10 to 12 in the morning. So yeah, keep her lit up here as usual, which I knew was going to happen, to be fair. After getting a message there from Line to state that the boat is now being delayed for, well, 60 minutes, so usually that's a knock-on effect of an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours. So that has affected my plans this evening. I was hoping to get home at a reasonable time instead of 2 o'clock in the morning, because I'm on site again at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I have site meetings in the morning and then on site at a client of ours in Clonus, County Monaghan, and then after that then the rest of the day is planned out. Alrighty folks, I was absolutely freezing. Just leaving a site here in Holyhead and on my way back to the boat. Now running a wee bit behind, a wee bit late, so we're lucky the boat is delayed, but out on site with the client. Alrighty folks, that yet again another sickening crossing, but we're back now. Just landed in Dublin from Holyhead and we need to get down the road here now. We actually weren't too bad delayed. It was a wild rough crossing, so he must have been making up some speed and some time. Stabilisers must have been out as far as they can put them out. Another Saturday morning, back up here in Coleraine, delivering driver CPC training, and yeah, all set up here. It's that time of year again, folks. The old Christmas trees are out, decorations up all over the place. So today is Saturday. Yesterday was Friday, which is the end of this month of November. So a lot of people getting paid, a lot of people out drinking and partying. A damn noisy place here last night before we got set up. But anyways, get the guys in, get this driver CPC done. As you know, guys, we're always crying out for driver CPC trainers and contractors as well to come in and partner up with us to serve the massive driver CPC that we have and that we go through. We're looking to restructure our CPC training division because it's just a mass of workload that we have and bookings that we have and recording companies that keep using us for it, and there's massive opportunities for, and not when I say partners, I'm even talking about obviously full-time trainers, but freelance trainers. I'm here today because the trainers let us down yet again, so the freelance just really isn't working most of the time. So another provider to partner up with us, which would be which would keep them just full booked out through 2026, because the bottom line is, yes, we're only over it, but now, what's that, 26, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, so the deadline's 2029, so, you know, just with the basic recurring retainer clients that we deal with, you know, that's the next couple of years booked up for somebody to come in and deliver driver CPC training. Right, let's try and get motivated and get this done. So at least when you own and run your own YouTube channel, the beauty of that is when you go to put up any training content or any video content at the likes of driver CPC training, well, at least you own it all. So the client we're with today, we have video content for them, about them, so when the guys are doing the enrollment section, instead of sitting there doing nothing, they can at least have a chat with us. Handy. Find downstairs here and meet and greet some of the lads and ladies. Well, some of these lads are ladies, but you can't hold it against them. Stand by. Alrighty folks, good morning. Good morning. Stephen here from tctsgroup.com, TCTS, Ireland Compliance Pal Group of Software, Smyth Enterprises, Benfrey Holdings, Compliance Pal. You know the crack by now. Anyways, it is an absolutely beautiful morning here in Belfast. As you can see, look at that. Traffic, weather. But remember, without the rain, nothing grows. So today we are, as you might have seen on our socials, the last couple of weeks are absolutely flat out, which is nothing normal, I suppose. However, it's just picking up pieces from jobs that have not been progressed correctly. It's all the usual stuff you might have seen on our socials, where we are and what we're at. We cannot lift the camera all the time for doing this stuff. However, we are in Belfast today, so I'm pulled pillar to post this week because I have another, unfortunately, fatal accident investigation job that I am on at the moment, which, as you know, we don't talk about on this channel, but you guys know what we do. So that's pulling me from pillar to post in out of that job. I'm in Belfast here this morning, so we have 4 jobs in Belfast here this morning, and it was 3 jobs now. Another one came in on top of us that we kind of have to sort out for a new client that's come on board back in August, September time. So we have 2 sites fully today. One is full video content SOP creation. You know the crack, you know the way we do it. The days of a big dirty old PowerPoint SOP, they are gone, and they should be gone, because we don't have the ability or skill set anymore for people to sit and read documents. We have language barriers. We have a lot of people who will not understand when they read something. Majority of people now, from a psychological profiling point of view, are visual learners, and that there now has increased well up into over 85%. So we have to do what we have to do to make it easier for people. So we build our video libraries for SOPs, RAMs, all that sort of crack. SOPs, if you don't know, guys, I know I talk about this like everybody knows this when they should do. I have health and safety professionals don't even know this. SOPs stand for Standard Operating Procedures, or Safe Operating Procedures, and we can amend that to the likes of Safe Systems of Work. There's a pile of acronyms for it, but the bottom line is it should be a basic instruction method of how to do a certain task, and 99% of the ones we assess are just incompetent, insufficient and irrelevant to what the guys are doing. So we created this a number of years ago. It just kind of blew out all over the place, because again, it's getting that information in, and it's getting it company bespoke is the big thing. So yes, there's 2 sites going on there today with that. We have 2 assessors out doing the video content, as in delivering the content. We have 3 videographers out, 2 guys that we've on board now, and one that's like they would call him an apprentice videographer, but to be fair, he is absolutely fantastic. He is more skillful than the other two guys, which are 2 separate companies put together, which amazes me, because if you are, and as you know, guys, we do own Group Media, which is our media division, and I look at this all the time, and the guys with no qualifications, no degrees, no nothing, but have been messing about on editing, even videos or video games or whatever they're doing when they're younger, they would just wipe the ground with all these other clowns, as call themselves, videographer people and all, which is very, very important to understand. So if you're watching this and you're that type of person and you're a worker and you want to grow, give us a shout, info@tctsgroup.com. Qualifications do not make the man or woman, and most of the time the qualification has been a waste of 4 or 5 years of your life, depending on what you're doing. So never worry about that. Come and see us and we'll have a chat about it. Anyways, that's 2 sites done. We have we're actually involved in the middle of the health and safety audit from HSE outside Dunmurray. I've popped in there this morning. It's now, what time is it? 7:30. I popped in there this morning. We've all set up for that. And then we have Transport Compliance audit just outside Carrickfergus, Tachograph management. There's a pile of stuff, guys. You know the crack. If you don't know, watch your channel and see what happens as we go forward. Another client of ours where we're doing a very, very important task today. It's a health and safety task, and it's both very personal and professional to me, and keep an eye out in this video and we'll try and get a bit of content for it. But it's one of the most important elements of health and safety with staff, especially in certain environments that you work in. And you know something, I say it's personal to me, and we'll talk about it later on to tell you why. If you watch my videos back, you will exactly know why. But anyway, that's the plan at the minute. So I'm pulled pillar to post, jumping in and out of all these jobs, get back down the road again. We have a solicitors meeting this evening yet again for a overweight offence. Insecure load. Yeah, it's in for an insecure load, which turned into a serious incident. I think that's back last March, or back in March, but anyway, we have to deal with that there for expert witness performance that we have to do in the start of 2026. Court date has not been totally confirmed yet, and get all that in order, and then get prepped as well for tomorrow, where I'm out on site with a client of ours in County Fermanagh doing load security training and loading training for machine, plant and equipment. So hopefully we'll get, listen, we can't get content for all of this. Do we want a videographer to follow us around all the time? People's always asking for it. The people know what we do, and they always want to see what we do, and then they'll say to us, listen, we'll be out on site doing a particular job, and they say, why you're not putting this up on your YouTube channel? And it's because we just don't have the time. Confidentiality is utmost, so obviously we get permission for videoing, and most companies then will say to me, you don't need permission, walk away, we'll give you permission, there's no problem. And then we just don't pull the camera out, because our focus is on the task at hand. So anyway, let's get kicking off on this absolutely beautiful pissing rain Thursday and see what we can get done. Right, stand by.
Over the dust issue, yes, it's killing people.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not saying animal feed dust is going to kill you, but it could. Slight dryness or bitterness.
Just a very slight.
Yeah, that's
very,
good. That's for your palate.
I was watching you in the Philippines there Sunday evening.
Were you in the Philippines? Was I in the Philippines?
You were in the Philippines.
That's good, right?
That's true.
Right, you take a wee drink of that and clear your palate, swallow it down, and that'll get rid of the dryness.
So guys, what we're going to do here, we're going to get Alex just to explain to the camera here with Brian, our beautiful assistant, who's getting masked up for this demonstration, but I let these guys talk away and we'll just hover around in the background.
Now, Brian, now that your palate's clear, this is the mask you're going to be issued and tested on today.
Yeah.
The reason we're testing it is it's a legal requirement, to be honest. So the HSE have a document called INDG 479, which stipulates that anyone has to wear tight-fitting respiratory protective equipment as part of a process to protect them from dust, harmful dust. They have to be tested to prove that it works. All right. So it's a legal requirement as well. This is the mask in question. It's the Moldex half mask, the 7000 series. This is a favourite of the asbestos industry, to be as honest as well. So it's a reusable mask. So it has to be kept clean, the mask itself. And the only thing we add is the filters. They're replaced whenever required. If it's a really dusty environment, you're struggling to breathe in the mask with the filters on, or you simply the mask or the filters are clogged up.
Yeah.
Change the filters regularly. Okay. These are great because they're serviceable. So twisting them like that, you can take out the insides and warm soapy water, paper towel dry, keep that clean and free from dust regularly. So alcohol-free wipes in the wagon, and just give them a clean down after the end of the day, like you do with your cooking and all that stuff in the vehicle. Now these click on nice and handy here when you're putting them back in place. Front back on here, 11 o'clock click, 12 o'clock lock. Alright. The filters, these are P3 filters, so they're just for dust. Yeah. If you're working with chemicals, strong chemicals or anything, you would require an additional filter to go with that, but in this case it's dust only. Okay? So to put these on the mask, fingers inside, pushing out the side, move it round so it slots on, and then quarter turn clockwise and locks in place. And the same this side.
And Alex, how often the filters have to be changed?
Depending on the environment they're working in, the individual's working in. So if it's a really high content of dust and it's all day, change those filters regularly. It could be every few days, could be a week, could be a month, depending on the environment they're working in. A lot of it's to do with common sense. but the health and safety manager who deals with the risk assessment for that particular job you're doing can indicate when you change them. Okay, so that you always need a stock of them available with you in the lorry.
And tell me this then, from Brian's point of view, how would he know when they're starting to get blacked up? We can do a bit of a test here, can we?
Yeah, well, what we do a fit check when we put the mask on. That's one thing you can do. The visible check to see if the filters aren't pure black. If they're pure black, they might need changing. Or when you put the mask on with the filters, if you're really struggling to breathe, or you can just simply taste dust coming in, change the filters again. Okay?
Roger.
So, we put the mask on. You hold that on your face there for me, please. And then we can tighten that one a wee slight bit. Now these click around the back of the neck, so it's one over the other. So I'll do that for you now. And these are classed as a tight fitting face piece. So not to be tight, but not overly tight so they're uncomfortable. How does that feel?
That's okay.
Is that okay? Now what I'd like you to do, this is called the fit check end thing. This is really important. So clean shaven all the time when you're wearing that mask, no exceptions. If you've stubble over 8 hours old or a Santa beard like mine, you're just not going to get a fit. So you reduce the efficiency of the mask by at least 85%. So you might as well have a tissue over your face. So clean shaven all the time when you know you're going to be wearing the mask. Cover the filters gently with the palm of your hand there for me. Just put your hands over like that and then take a deep breath in. And there should be no air coming in. What that does, it pulls the mask onto your face to create the seal. Ready to roll? Lovely. So we've established your sensitivity to the bit tracks. We've cleared your palette, we're ready to roll, we've got the mask on. So what we're going to do now, put this hood on and we're going to do 7 tests. Okay? These 7 tests, it's just stood there basically, and it's head movement, breathing techniques. I'll instruct you with each one. Is that okay? So this is the raw ingredient of bit tracks. It tastes awful. So if the mask is leaking, you're just going to let me know, Brian. Is that fair enough? And we start the timer, because each test takes a minute. So normal breathing to start with. And then it's just a countdown of the clock here. So
what's happening here, Alex? What are you looking for? What's Brian looking for?
We're replicating what Brian would be doing during the day when he's wearing the mask. So it's about head movement, about bending over, talking, that kind of thing. So we're testing the mask to check its capabilities and the seal.
Get you, yeah.
Mainly the seal.
So when you pump that in, you're waiting for Brian to give you a shout if he can taste.
Yeah, if he tastes the bit tracks. If the mask is leaking, he'll let me know. I'm not going to stand here and ask him every few seconds, can you taste anything? Because it tastes that bitter, you'll go, oh my God, I can taste that. So it's a simple taste suggestion.
Okay.
This next one now is deeper breathing for me for a whole minute, Brian. Off you go. So it's a simple pass or fail test on this. I like to do this kind of testing for companies and organisations if they've introduced fit testing for the very first time, because it gets a real strong message across, and we'll reveal what that message is at the end of the testing. How's the breathing in that, Brian? Okay?
Yeah, okay.
You can breathe normal?
Yeah.
That particular type of mask, when it warms up, it softens the mask and becomes even more comfortable. But it's a TPE solution, so it's a synthetic rubber, so it's not going to aggravate your skin in any way. So we've passed on the first test, normal breathing, and we're about to pass on the deep breathing test, and we're moving into the third test. Third test is normal breathing, Brian, for me, but this time for the whole minute, move your head side to side for me. Going back to companies doing this for the first time, this is my favourite method of introducing fit testing, because it gets the strong message across to the employee, And then when it comes to 2 years later, when we retest them, I like to retest them using the machine, which is a quantitative fit test, which is more numerical, and it gives a true reading of how well the mast performs. Keep that head going for me, Brian, you're doing great.
So tell me this then, when we talk about being clean shaven and how important it is, or no stubble over 8 hours, just explain that to me. You're saying that if I had a stubble here at the moment, I couldn't...
I would refuse the fit test.
Right,
Because
okay.
I'm duty bound by law not to fit test anyone with facial hair, especially if it's stubble over 8 hours old or a beard or anything like that. You must be clean shaven for the seal of the mask to adhere to the skin on the face.
And then in the real world, right, where guys have stubbles and they're working all week and they're still putting them masks on, even after the testing, how really relevant is that? Not for the testing, Alex, but thereafter.
You have to be clean shaven every time you wear your respiratory protective equipment. It's hugely important. There's no point shaving coming in for a test and then going out the door and growing your beard back and wear a mask. It's pointless. And
in your experience, with a stubble, is there no seal anymore? Is the seal reduced, or literally is there no seal anymore?
There's no seal. You can't guarantee the seal. You just can't guarantee it because it pushes the mask away from the face.
Right, yeah.
So you would get leakage in that respect. Now, this next one now is talking, so I'd like you to count backwards from 100 for me, Brian, so I can hear you clearly. Off you go.
100, 99, 98, 97, 96, 95, 94, 93.
If you want any information on fit testing, there's a document you can get from the HSE website, which is INDG 479, which will explain the whole process and the reasons for fit testing in the workplace. Traditionally, this has been a legal requirement for over 20 years in the UK.
Really?
In Northern Ireland, it's always been, oh, we'll do it when the HSE come and visit. When the HSE come visit this time, because their focus right now is purely on dust, protecting employees and fit testing. If they come and knock and you haven't done it, you're going to get your wrist slapped. Okay, so you might get a prohibition notice from them, extreme cases. But right now, if you want to chat to us about fit testing and the processes, just give us a call.
So we'll link that document down below, somewhere in the description.
Off you go. So leaning forward and back up, and keep that going nice and slow for a whole minute. That's okay.
And what I like about what you're doing here is this is the movement which guys will be doing in real life, when they're out on the site or they're out getting out of the lorry and climbing up on top of the trailer and loading or unloading. Because if we just sat in the classroom with a straight face doing nothing like this, then it'll not break the seal. Is that right?
Absolutely. And if you're jumping in and out of cabs, and it could be in a quarry, it could be at a mill, it could be anywhere, you might think, oh, I don't get dust in the cab. But it's the jumping in and out over a number of years is where you're going to get affected respiratory wise from inhalation of dust that you become used to. So wear your mask.
I hope nobody cuts this wee bit out and puts it in TikTok as a cult joining or something.
This is just normal breathing for the last minute, Brian, alright? And because this is a simple taste suggestion, it's a simple pass or fail process. Okay, so at the end of it, you walk away, the employee walks away with a copy of their fit test document, which shows that they've been tested and they're more confident about the mask they're wearing. Plus, the employer will have a copy of the fit test document, which they must keep on file for 5 years. And then after that 5 years, it goes up into loft space for a further 40 years. Because we're dealing with respiratory issues here, which could take a long time to progress. So this is hugely important, as much as hard hats, footwear, high vis, everything else. RPE is going to become a real essential item moving forward in the next couple of years. So get it done now.
It's interesting you say that 40 years record retention after your basic 5 or 6 years for data protection. This here is for record retention for respiratory fitment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right at the end, what I do, I spray into the hood numerous times, and we want to get a message across here to the employee, the importance of respiratory protection and how well the mask fits. So Brian, if you'd be so kind as to just take a deep breath. Can you taste that?
No.
Right, tell you what I'm going to do. You should have tasted that. So, now.
So what Alex is doing here is going to now break the seal.
Yeah, you take a deep breath now. Right, we've gone through the test. Okay.
So we're on to the next man here
Just
now
simulate what you do
in the
when
list
you wear
of
a
drivers
mask,
that we're
you know
doing.
what I mean?
Camera's probably sitting sideways as per usual. So same crack again, same routine
Yeah.
between Alex and the guys.
Bit further down, get the abs working.
So this is a free workout as well. We don't charge extra for this bit.
Stand still for me there now, and I'll spray this in.
So again, one of the big things here is that all faces are obviously different shapes and sizes, and then we have to make sure that the mask sizes fit these guys and seal round correctly. So in this particular clip, because we have a lot of guys to sort out today, we will just get a last reaction here with Niall as they break the seal to see how effective
Right now,
proper
hands
fitting
down.
is.
This is the last minute, and we'll spray it. So we've been through all the testing now. Thankfully, there's been no leakage. The mask fits correctly. What I'd like you to do now, Niall, is just take a big deep breath in for me. Can you taste that?
Not very much, no.
Hey?
Little bit.
Just say it again, Niall.
Just a little bit at the back of the throat.
You get in the back of the throat, just that. Right, okay. What's that telling us, Alex?
That tells us the mask is being fitted correctly. It's sealed. Nothing got in during the whole testing. Because the Bittrex we use is extremely bitter, and it's used in various things from stopping people from extreme nail biting to putting them in pharmaceuticals to stop kids from taking the tablets. So a teaspoonful of this in a swimming pool will change the whole taste of the water.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And Niall, just from your point of view, so since they broke the seal and that chemical went in, you could taste it in the back of your throat, could you?
Taste it a wee bit in the back of your throat.
Yeah. So what's that telling us then, that without the seals working on the mask, because you couldn't smell it before?
No.
Yeah.
All right, Alex?
Yeah, it's a taste thing anyway. So I'll give you a wee drink of water there now. I'll give you a little sweetie.
So there you go. That's just a perfect example. When the seal is fitting and Alex is spraying that stuff into the hood, you shouldn't smell or taste anything. As soon as he breaks the seal, that taste goes straight into the back of the throat because the seal is working effectively.
Yeah.
Correct?
That's why we do the fit testing, to demonstrate that the mask is fully protecting them.
Perfect,
And we can
okay.
only do that by being clean shaven again.
Lovely.
Now, thank you very much.
So that's it, guys. We'll get to the next clip. Righty folks, so we're after walking the last driver back out to reception, waiting on the next man, but in this interim period, we're going to get a quick chat with Alex here for a couple of nosy questions that I want to know, Alex, if nothing else.
Sure.
Anyways, I will highlight the fact that you still haven't even given me a sweet. We've been here a couple of hours, but listen,
well, there we will sort that
I'll not
out.
hold that against you. Tell me this here then, what about if a company wants to get involved now with face fit testing? Talk me through the process.
Now, a lot of companies may be told to get their staff fit tested, right?
Now, are you indicating for the likes of HSE?
Yes.
Okay, that's what we're dealing
So
with
that
at the
could be
moment.
an improvement notice or a prohibition notice. It could be animal feed, you could be a quarry, you could be concrete producer, anything like that creates dust. The focus from the HSE this past year, has been all about producing dust in the workplace, protecting staff and fit testing. Right.
So when we say this year, just because this will be on our YouTube channel, we're currently in December 2025, and I know this year we've had a wild amount of inquiries about this issue, but obviously you deal with this day in, day out. So from this year, how many years will they focus on this, do you think?
Well, they're doing a very rare thing, so this tells you how important it is to the HSE at the minute. Normally they'll do a promotion on a certain thing, like last year it was all about transport safety in the workplace.
That's right, yeah.
So that runs for a year. They're doing a very rare thing now where they're going to run this for a total of 3 years. Okay? So this is going to be continuously asked when the HSE inspector comes in, it's going to be one of their priority questions. You're in a dusty environment, your staff are in a dusty environment, what is your RPE program? And yes, if you have an RPE program in place, have you done any fit testing already? If you haven't done any of that, simply speak to us about helping you to introduce an effective, robust RPE program in the workplace. Don't just jump in and do fit testing straight away. And that can be chaotic and crazy to start with, and a waste of money as well. What you need to do is start educating staff right now that there's a risk of dust in the workplace. This is the risk to you as an individual. How are we going to control that? Are we going to engineer that problem out to start with? Because you could engineer the whole problem out and you might need any masks at all. So speak to us about an RPE program. We can help you with that. So look at the risks involved, look at your existing risk assessments, and establish, have you done air sampling, for instance, as well? That will highlight those risky areas for you to really target and control. And then we can look at introducing masks as a last resort, and then the fit testing process that accompanies that.
And it's interesting you say that, because about not jumping in with the 2 feet. We have had guys come to us, no point giving me sweet now. No, that's not. We've had guys come to us, right, with these serious quotations for masks, and automatically guys are trying to send them full battery operated respiratory equipment.
Yeah.
So you're right in what you said about not jumping in with the 2 feet. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that?
Oh no, absolutely. Some companies will go a bit overkill and they'll go, well, we're not going to go down the fit testing route. We'll provide them with powered respiratory units, which is powered air purifying respirators. They start from anything from £400 up to £2,000 as well. If they go down that route, they will need regular servicing. So best practice is annual servicing, which comes at a cost as well. So don't fall into the trap of going, oh, here's your unit, you don't need to do anything with it after that. Still need servicing, still need filters replacing on a regular basis as well. All comes at a cost, but they don't need fit testing.
They don't need fit testing, no.
Airflow products, so they're constantly filtering clean air onto the face and keeping dust out.
What if, so we have a couple issues here, right? But first of all, the stubble, clean shaving's the main thing. Stubble over 8 hours, and if we had somebody like yourself with a beautiful majestic beard that you're trying to represent Santa Claus here now in December, talk me through what would you have to wear if you were out in that working environment?
Having the beard obviously means I can't wear a tight fitting face piece, so that could be an FFP daily disposable mask, a half mask like these, tight fitting face piece as well, or a full face mask with filters on there. Tight fitting respirator means that the lungs is doing the work. The lungs are filtering in, drawing in the dirty air and being filtered by the filters into the face. They are required to be fit tested by law, and the law is INDG 479 from the HSE. Look it up, download it, give it a good read. But if staff have got beards, or they're unshaven, they've got stubble over 8 hours old, or a beard like mine, they cannot wear a tight-fitting respirator like the FFP, the half mask and the full face mask, because the facial hair is pushing the mask away from the seal of the face to the mask.
Yeah.
So the only alternative, if they don't shave, you have to talk to them and try and encourage them, and this is where education is really important. If they won't shave, you have a duty of care to still provide protection to them, and the only alternative if they're not shaving is either move them out of that risky job onto a different job where there's no risk to their respiratory system, or provide them with a powered unit, such as a powered air purifying respirator. And they're not cheap.
As I was saying earlier in a clip before I came in here, so I take this here from both personal and professional. And personal is with myself when I was hospitalised with double COVID pneumonia, which to be fair was probably only double pneumonia. But you realise very quickly when you're stuck in that hospital situation and you're vented up to all these machines and you are sucking for air. I mean, you would do anything to get air into you. This is where the masks really come into their own. Now, if I go back the last 30 years, I've spent all my time in engineering departments and workshops and commercial vehicle workshops. We never wore a mask. Like, I'm talking real life. I'm talking about real stuff here. Not a man with a shirt and tie behind a table. We sandblasted with no mask. We sprayed trucks and trailers with no mask. We've done all that sort of stuff. Working in workshops with no ventilation and exhaust fumes going all the time. So we've changed a corner of where people need to come on board, but this here is for any environment, anywhere where you're breathing in toxic fumes. Yeah. And what I was going to say to you is, so say someone had a medical condition, what do you call it, COPD. Say they had it, for example. Talk me through, how would we protect them guys?
You have to look at why, first of all, the reasons they got COPD is a genetic thing. You know, it generally isn't a genetic thing. It's a progressive lung disease that established itself years ago, and it progressed along the way. You know, COPD is a relatively common lung issue. You know, nowadays. Things you got to look at as well. You know, people traditionally, the biggest problem has always been, oh, it's a 2-minute job, I don't need a mask. But those 2-minute jobs over 5, 10, 15, 20 years, that's where they get the lung issues. That's where they get the asthma, the COPD, and in some extreme cases, the lung cancer. You know,
it's a bit like welding. You know, you can be. I remember for years welding and fabricating, and always getting my eyes burnt out of myself. That's just kind of the thing back years ago. But I remember one week saying to myself, "I've had enough. Enough is enough." And I'll tell you how bad it was. Right. I went into a bar on the Saturday night, a local bar, and I went in anyway, and the guy that owned it came over to him and he called me to the side, and like we didn't get into the bar maybe till 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, because we were working all day. I took a shower and into the bar. And I remember him pulling me to the side one day and saying, "Hey boy, I think you've had enough." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I'm only in." The eyes were that bored out of my head. He thought I would have been drinking for hours and hours. And so anyway, the next week I said, "No, enough's enough. I'm sick of getting the head bored of myself." And I spent one whole day Saturday welding trailer floors, and there was 2 of us on the job, and I protected myself all day, but I was a disaster that night. I actually go to the hospital on the Saturday night. I was getting his rays all day long. And the point I'm trying to make is, just because I'm not grinding or I'm not doing a certain task, the guy next door to me in the next pit could be doing that. So what's the best way of approaching this, from, especially because my whole background, my whole passion and interest is workshops and commercial vehicle engineering. How do them boys know that they would need masks?
A risk assessment will either have been done previously, but there's a common rule here. If you can see it or taste it, you should be wearing a mask. You should be protecting yourself. You don't know what that dust is, for instance. A good example is overall building contractors. They may fit test all their staff, and they provide them with lovely masks and everything. And but then a subcontractor working next to them is cutting concrete all day with a still saw, no water suppression, and the place is full of dust.
That's right.
But they're not protected. So the employer has the duty of care. But an overall contractor, I'm not going to give any names out, but the biggest out there is saying to all their subcontractors now, you come on site, you have to provide me with your risk assessments for dust production, fit testing, and the staff have to wear respiratory protective equipment because we want to protect our staff. You're going to see more and more of this because, you know, people, they become sensitized to dust if they've been working with it for a long time, and they go, "Oh, I can't taste it. What are you talking about?" That's sensitization. That's right. And that's the biggest danger out there.
Well, we have had a couple of guys in here this morning already, and it took them a while to get that shot in the back of their throat.
Yeah.
But still, we had maybe the person before them getting it straight away. So therefore, you're right in what you're saying. You can get sensitized.
Sensitized to things. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, wagon drivers might think that they're safe, they're in their cabs and stuff like that, but it's the jumping in and out of different areas different jobs they're going to. It could be a quarry one day, could be animal feed the bay the next day. They've all got dust, and because they're used to going into these areas, they don't necessarily taste it. You know, a good rule of thumb is when you have the shower at night working in these places,
That's right.
and you blow your nose and your hands full of crap,
That's
basically.
right, yeah.
You know, eliminate that because you're inhaling a lot. I'll give you a great example. There's a company called JSP Safety, based over in Oxford in England, and they produce PPE products. And they're specialist manufacturers of respiratory protective equipment. I'll give this example. Earlier this year, because they knew there was going to be a focus on crystalline silica dust in the workplace, what they did is they got one of their masks, half masks, you know, similar to this, with 2 dust filters on there, all right? They give it to a guy who was cutting concrete slabs all day with his still saw, took the water suppression off, put the mask on, wore the mask the whole day. At the end of the day, they took the mask away and the filters off into laboratory conditions and emptied the contents of the filters, the dust filters. There was the equivalent, after a full day of cutting concrete, of a quarter of a bag of sugar in concrete dust in those filters. that individual, had they not been wearing a mask, would have inhaled. Granted, they would have inhaled a huge amount, but expelled a lot. But that crystalline silica dust would have lodged straight into the wall of their lungs, and over a short period of time, they would have got either asthma, COPD, or worse, lung cancer.
Well, one of the most interesting things that I've heard you bang on about here, I use the word bang on because people don't want to listen to this stuff, but you're telling me that the companies have to keep these records now for 40 years.
Yeah.
Now let's just split that down from an employer point of view. We're now talking about possible claims. This is asbestos all over again, isn't it? Really?
Absolutely.
So, you know, you've an employee 10, 15, 20 years, and then for it to come back and bite you, possibly for an excessive claim because of lung damage. Now, yes, we're here to protect people and the employer has to protect people, but at the same time, it has to be enforced, Alex.
Yeah, and that's the hardest part. But this is why, rather than jumping in feet first into doing the fit test, it's really important to get the programme, at least outline what you're going to do, and start with education. If you can't educate them on the importance of protecting themselves from high-risk dusty environments, you're never going to win. You're never going to win.
Talk me through a program then. So I'll just, let me see, I'll think of, I know any of our clients. One of our clients who is a haulier, and they have their own workshop, they have their own spray booth, and they have their own engineering bay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the drivers themselves might, you know, we're not necessarily speaking to the drivers at this stage, but let's go to the engineering bay, the workshops and the spray booth.
Which is probably one of the highest risk areas in the whole place. Maintenance crews, particularly in quarrying industries or even haulage, you're driving the roads, you're in and out of quarries, you're in and out of animal feed, there's build-up of that dust all over the vehicle. You have to get access to that part or that area you need to work at, and you're creating dust, clearing it off. What did they do? To grab an airline and go blow it up? Dust everywhere.
That's right.
Yes, that's a 2-minute job, but those 2 minutes over a long period of time, you've inhaled anything from silica dust to animal feed to potentially asbestos or whatever. You just don't know what you're inhaling when you get that airline up. So this is why it's critically important to think first and educate the staff. This is the risk in that area. So first, dust. Second, isocyanates from paint, because you've got a spray booth. You know, there's exhaust fumes as well. All these things are potentially killers over a long period of time. So you need to do your risk assessments to establish that where respiratory protection is required. Seal off areas, have good LEV, for instance. Do your air sampling and personal monitoring of air sampling with the individuals. If you get the air sampling done, that highlights those areas. But get it done in the summer.
Yes.
Get it done in the summer.
Well, funny, and hopefully people can hear me behind the camera, but why I'm not a lover of air sampling is because it's usually not done correctly. And when I used to work in the MOT centre for DVA, which is the Civil Service Northern Ireland, they would come out and monitor the heavy vehicle lanes and they would put the bloody device outside at the door. Now, us guys standing in the pit underneath that vehicle as it's ticking over, do the likes of a brake test, and most exhaust running Euro 5, Euro 6 engines, the exhaust tailpipe is coming down into the ground, which is actually us standing in the pit.
Yeah.
And this is why I hate the fact that when people get contracts, they come out and they just tick a box. But you're talking about proper air sampling.
Yeah, and any reputable, there's any number of really good reputable air sampling companies out there. I wish I did it because I'd be a lot busier, but they will do the personal monitoring in those high risk areas. So first of all, they do an overall monitor just to get a count and a feel, and they test the dust that's coming in there as well. So they can tell you what the people are exposed to. Then they look at those high risk areas and do the personal monitoring over a period of a full working day or even a week. And
just going back there to me example of the Haulier with the workshop and engineering bay and all, talk me through a program. So you were talking about a program there. The program will start off with, and take away the risk assessment awards and all, but if you were to go into that company, where would you start with the program?
I'd look at the dust producing areas that are obvious to start with, and look and see what they're doing, what they're wearing, what PP protection is in there. You know, some of these hidden away quarries, for instance, you know, they'll have the water suppression on the entrance to make it look good on the weighbridge area, for instance.
Yeah.
But you go into the canteen and there's about half an inch of silica dust in the canteens. You know, all these areas are like really high risk, not only to the staff but to the public as well. So water suppression just on the entrance and the weighbridge, not enough. You've got to get right down to the nitty gritty to establish where the dust is. Again, get the air sampling done, which again will highlight the high risk areas, which allows you to start implementing an RPE program. That's the high risk area, this is the risk to them, that's the dust or chemical that's affecting them. We need to look at extracting that or containing that dust in that area. So try and engineer the problem out before you do the RPE part of things. RPE is the last line of defence.
And that was interesting to a couple of the guys you were speaking to, because when they realised that the masks are the last line of defence, then all the questions were asked, what does the company have to do, or the location you're going to load in, what are their requirements to control dust suppression, for example. Now, having said that, what are the sort of prosecutions like with HSE and even HSE in the south? What are we looking at here for guys that are failing to control?
Well, there's improvement notices is the first thing that the HSE will look at. You know, have you done your air sampling? Have you tried to engineer the problem out through LEV, local exhaust ventilation, to extract dust? This is the control of dust in the workplace as well. So if there's dust on the floors, they look at how are you getting rid of that dust. Are you sweeping it? If you're sweeping it, you're creating a massive hazard to everyone else. So they're promoting vacuuming, which again is expensive. But I'd rather buy an expensive vacuum and have good LEVs and good respiratory program in place rather than waiting for litigation.
And you know something, that's a perfect point you make. That's a perfect point. So everybody's sweeping up the floors, sweeping up the workshop, sweeping up the engineering bay, whether it's manufacturing offices, like we be in every industry about. And just when you say it, yes, when you sweep, you create so much dust. And it makes a lot of common sense to say that, to hoover it up. But do we really know that? Do we really do it? I can tell you no, but you're right in what you're saying.
Yeah, what about those people up in the mezzanine office? You know, you've been dust sweeping with your mask on, sweeping, dust everywhere. You know, that lands on the top of the mezzanine because it's light, it's fine particles. And the people in their nice, clean offices, you know, they're in and out with paperwork all day. They're breathing all that dust in. So where do you start? This is why, rather than just jumping in both feet and getting fit tested and issuing everyone with masks, do they really need them? Can you control that and get rid of that dust problem to start with simple tasks? You know, so it can be an expensive process, but the fines could be anything. They could be anything. Usually related long term with death.
Yeah.
You know.
And again, as you said earlier, 40 years record retention. So we're not talking about right now necessarily, but fast forward 10 years and the next thing, these claims start to come through like it did back in the asbestos days, to be fair.
Yeah.
Now there's no excuse. Like we would go into logistic hubs, for example, and I'll just say on a night shift, and you could have 20 forklifts flat out doing their job. And when we come out of there, even in doing health and safety inspections, as you said, we blow our nose and all the dirt and grimes, we're blowing into a tissue. So I'm trying to get the point across to industries and companies who don't realise, that they might need to control the dust and the respiratory devices and control measures for staff.
Yeah, 100%. Not only staff, if you look at the quarrying industry and stuff, they all wear overalls. A lot of quarries now are starting to have laundry rooms. So you come off your site. These are all the good companies who have the RPE programs, all the fit tests and all the measures in place. They've even got down to thought about providing washing machines. So they're coming in, they're taking off their silica covered overalls and they're going straight into the washing machine. Not taking it home to the wife who's going to get silica dust in her face over a period of time as well. You're not only affecting yourself, but you're affecting your entire family, bringing certain dusts into the house, for instance.
Absolutely, yeah, that's so true. So yeah, there'll be people watching this, and you're after making a comment there about these reputable quarries and things, and I'll have a lot of guys watching this who might think, well, that man's talking about these big quarries that can afford all of this. When we talk about costing, there's not that much cost in it really, Alex, to control this.
Air sampling would probably be your biggest outlay in establishing where the high risk areas are. Then speaking to somebody like me, I can, the help and advice is free for me. Where I make my money is doing the fit testing and advising after that as well. But that's why I hate going into companies who haven't got a program already in place and they're jumping in with both feet, as I call it, because it's not cheap to get fit testing done on the full day, but because you're only doing it every 2 years, it becomes more cost effective then. But if you get the program right and you've established the mass you required, if required, go down the reusable route, with the appropriate filters for the individual. They become really cost effective in the long run. If you're having problems with the staff being clean shaven and they go, no, not doing it. I understand the risks, but I tell you what, I'm fed up of you going on at me about wearing my mask and being clean shaven. I'm going to go to the quarry down the road.
Yeah.
Goes down the road, same issue. Clean shaven. I wouldn't be surprised if the quarrying industry, concrete production and construction industries become mandatory clean shaven or mandatory masks on any site, just like the asbestos industry.
Yeah.
So for the sake of shaving, and we all love our beards, I love my beard, but think of your health, think of the working place you're going in. Is that the right environment you're going to be working in? If you want to keep your beard, but you're going to have that pressure of being clean shaven, and this is the mask you're wearing to protect you. Other than that, it's down to the employer to say, well, you've been here a long time, I don't want to lose you, I'm going to get you on these powered units, you don't need fit testing, but I expect you to wear it every day. That's a belt pack. That could be a hard hat with everything built in and a visor. Wearing them all day, not the most comfortable thing compared to a lightweight mask. So do consider your environment and what the employer is talking to you about. There's no excuses for not shaving other than religious or medical reasons. Yeah. Okay? So, and the religious reasons will generally fall into an Islam thing or a Sikh, Yeah.
So like we've touched on the testing and we've touched on the fitment and we've touched on the control measures. What about the maintenance thereafter? So when we talk about maintenance, yes, they're massive, you hold one up of 2 filters on either side.
Yeah.
But even in the environment where we're standing today, which is an animal feed company, like them, if the guys were exposed to some of the bins that they're loading in every day, they'd block up in a week, a month at the latest.
Yeah. So that comes down to your risk assessment as well, and the air sampling, the air monitoring. So if the air monitoring is saying, oh, that's way above the acceptable levels and respiratories required, then that's built into the risk assessment, and health and safety will probably stipulate change these on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, whatever, depending on the level of risk involved. But there's no point in wearing a mask in these high risk areas and then you're leaving it hanging around your neck for an hour.
That's right, yes.
Filling up with dust, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So when you're not, when you don't need your mask, get out of the area, take the mask off, give it a clean at the end of the shift or whatever with an alcohol-free wipe. Put it in one of these like Tesco sandwich bags with the Ziploc on it, for instance. Keep it dust-free. So the cleaning of these is equally as important as the wearing of them as well. So regular cleaning and record that. The more you record as well as an employer, that's a nice cherry on top for when the HSE come knocking and they go, what a fantastic RPE program you have in place.
Absolutely. So tell me this here, as a approved associate of heirs at TCTS Group, and any of our clients or anybody that's watching us that follows us wants the likes of yourself in to do a consultation with them, how do we go about that? Now we will link all your information below, but talk me through what you would do. Contact them and how do you do it?
Yeah, they simply contact me, and one of the first questions they ask is, have you done face fit testing before? Yes or no, simple reason. If it's a no, then we look at the nature of the business and the most common causes of respiratory issues in that business, and then we start looking at the risk assessments. What have you done? Have you done the air sampling? So we'll talk you through the correct process of implementing your RPE program or fine-tuning an existing one, and before we do anything with regard to the face fit testing. But definitely one of the first things that I'll say to you, if you haven't implemented an RPE program, is start education now. Start educating your staff that you're going to be introducing an RPE program, the reasons for that, and the fact that they're going to be wearing masks. So that can take years, or a couple of years starting with, but once that's in place, then that allows you to involve your HR to say, we have this big risk and we need to protect staff, so any new staff coming in, it's built into their contracts. You're going to be wearing RPE. We would like to start implementing a clean shaven policy, and sorry if you're not prepared to shave off your beard to protect yourself, then we can't give you that particular job. So we will talk you through it, but we're not going to hit you with big sticks or put the fear factor in unless you ask us to do that.
Yes.
But when we get to the stage of doing face fit testing, we're doing the toolbox talk, we're again further educating the staff. I can provide with an RPE induction presentation, which is only about a minute long, but it gets them into the head of the staff coming into the company on induction level, which is a great way of educating. Same with apprentices. If you are a big civils company and you've got apprentices or whatever, and they're in the training room and you're going blah 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 about overhead lines and everything else, you need to start educating them now on the importance of RPE, and do that at classroom level with your apprentices.
Go guys, that's just a kind of quick, I think that's maybe 30 minutes there, Alex, of chatting, but very, very important guys, very, very important. And from the industries that we be in and we specialise in, whether it's manufacturing, engineering, commercial vehicle workshops, car workshops, civils, you name it, there's a solution for everybody. And the thing we always hear, and this is why I brought up with the price and all, is because people presume the bigger companies do this because they can afford it, and then other bigger companies just do it to tick the box. So when you said about going into a certain company and they said, yes, I've done face fitting before, but then you go into them and you ask them for air sampling and they turn around and don't know what you're talking about, because that can happen. So anyway, give us a shout, email us to info@tctsgroup.com, or all the details for Alex will be below. And watch the space, because we'll be doing more collaborations as the time goes on and try and do as much live on-site stuff. Massive thank you to the guys that allowed us to video them, and we'll probably get another few before the day is gone. It all depends, unless somebody drops on us, then we'll cut that out.
And at a later stage, what we're demonstrating here today is qualitative fit testing, which is a great introduction into fit testing. especially from the employee's point of view, because as I say, we fit test them, we explain to them why they're getting it done, and then at the end we break the seal and they get a real feel for, oh, the mask really works. Yeah. So this is a simple and effective way of introducing fit testing. And at a later stage, when we come back in here in 2 years' time, when they require further fit testing, I'll bring the quantitative or the port count machine in here, which gives a numerical reading of how well the mask performs. Perfect. Okay, so we like to do it that way than rather than walking in with a big machine and going, look at us. You know, we're thinking on the side of the employee to start with, to get the message across why they're being fit tested.
Perfect. Okay, bro. Right, so we're out here with the guys from Greentown Environmental doing a bit of load security training as we get them all up to speed. Maybe we'll chat with a couple of guys here shortly, but we're in the middle of practical assessment time, and then we'll touch base with these guys here. It's absolutely pissing rain outside.